Manic, pertaining to or affected by excessive excitement or enthusiasm, praise.
This is Manic Mindset. It's time for another Manic episode with Haley and Lynn. Join us each week as we dive down the rabbit hole of navigating life while being hyper-focused on success. Our manic moments are where some of our best ideas come from. We not only embrace the chaos, we thrive in it.
Hi guys, welcome back to Manic Mindset. Today, Lynn and I are really excited to talk about this topic, and reason being is because we had a little entrepreneur podcast set up at one of the local schools, and I think they put a little bit of like fire in us to get really excited about it, and that one, there's people that are listening, even if it's 3.
Yep.
But they're not students, they're not kids, because we talk about stuff that students should listen to.
There.
Yeah. But one of the things is I was not expecting what their podcast was going to be about.
Yeah.
I really
They're out here trying to change the world already.
I know. I love it. I love every bit of it. And so their podcast was about mental health. And I think that was amazing. And they talked about how they're going to be real. And we talked a lot about who do they cater to, maybe asking some of the kids what they want to hear. It was really, really exciting. So it kind of gave us the idea that we were going to speak about mental health, and I think we could probably tie this into a couple series. So maybe today we talk about the mental health of women and our age group. I would assume is kind of a lot, you know. I know that I struggle with that sometimes, and I know as you get older, and I actually think women struggle with it through levels, like different times of their lives where you feel confident and you don't. And you know, maybe being a teenager, and then maybe being a mother, a wife,
all the different versions of yourself,
daughter-in-law, like all those different versions of yourselves and stuff. So yeah, so what we decided to call this today was When Darkness Comes Early. So today we're going to talk about just like the stuff that no one ever wants to talk about.
Yeah. It's so weird because today we're recording in Haley's office because there's work being done at my house, and it's very weird I feel like I have very intense eye contact with you on this setup.
I kind of like it because we're sitting like this.
It feels more like a conversation. I like that. But I was laughing because she was like straightening up her background, and she's like, well, I want to have this and I have this. I have Amazon boxes from Glow Walk, Haley's, what is Vision Board with all these fun things. So I was like, that's cool. So
which, by the way, I knocked a lot of that stuff off already.
Sure did.
Let's go. Let's get it. See that podcast up there?
Right?
Did it. Check.
So my focus on this subject, I was kind of focused on, with the kids inspiring what we had talked about yesterday, more of like how to approach mental health in your kids' daughters, for me at that age, as a parent. I feel like I've, for the most part, gotten my kind of depression, anxiety in check. I don't want to say I don't have flare-ups. I mean, a couple months ago, we did a trip and we went to a movie and stuff, and I literally had a panic attack, like, about being in a movie theater. So that was a whole thing. Like, and panic attack thing is you don't know it's coming, right? It's not necessarily something that should make you panic that makes you panic. So by no means am I like, I'm cured, I'm good, let's move on.
Right.
It's just, for me, it was so eye-opening seeing those kids at that age talking about those problems, and they're so much more loud about it than we were, and they're allowed to be so much more loud about it, and it's just so eye-opening. I think mental health in teens and kids is on the rise in general. Look at the world we live in. Look at all the things that we're made to deal with that little minds probably shouldn't have to take on. Of course, it's going to be amped up for them right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't remember being prepared when I was a child for anything that was related to mental health. It's just not something that you really spoke about. I mean,
it was like a stigma.
It was a stigma, and I was raised partly by my grandparents who, you know, they were that generation before my parents' generation. So you definitely didn't talk about it. You didn't talk about
feelings.
Yeah, we didn't talk about feelings. We don't say I love you. We barely hug. Like, I know for a fact that I probably could have used some kind of medication in school to help me just to focus. Like, that was not a thing.
I could use that now.
Right? No doubt. But I think that you know, a lot of people brush that under the rug. I mean, it's not just mental health that those things are brushed on the rug. There were some gross things that were brushed on the rug. And like, I know people that were like, my, you know, grandfather or my mother or my mother's dad or whoever it was did some unspeakable things.
Yeah.
And that motherfucker still shows up at Christmas and everybody acts like it ain't a problem.
Yeah.
I got a problem with it.
Not in my house.
I'm not saying that that's in our family or anything. I'm just saying, like, you hear about like how families brush things under the rug, you know? I mean, churches do it. Like, there's a lot of that like taboo thing that you don't talk about. And I think mental health for a long time was taboo. What I've always tried to do with my kids is have a window of opportunity to talk about things and try and address them early. So they know that they have a safe space.
Yeah.
You know, so
sometimes that's hard. I'm going through the depths of that right now with my oldest. And it's funny because I know we've talked about, like, she's had this incident the other day, tells me about it. I reacted in her mind well, and something that she thought was well received. So now it's like the floodgates have opened.
Right.
I told my husband, I said, I love her dearly. I don't want to cut her off. She's in 7th grade and she comes downstairs like, verge of panic attack. She's like, I have to tell you, I'm losing sleep. In 5th grade, I cheated on a vocab test. And I was like, it took everything in my body to be like, girl, I don't care.
Right.
It's from the past. You learn from it. Don't come down here with that bullshit. Go to bed. But instead, I was like, okay, well, like, thanks for talking about it. Thanks for telling me. But you know, it pays off because she came to me and was like, I said, why? Like, you can tell whenever you want, but why all of a sudden, like, am I hearing all of these things at once? And she was like, well, that thing the other day, I talked to you and you made me feel like I can tell you anything. So now I want to tell you everything. And I was like, you know, we're in 7th grade. 8th grade comes that crazy shit, so you go ahead. You want to waste my whole night telling me about vocab tests in 5th grade.
Right.
Let's do it.
That's fine, then we're going to do this.
But it's just funny for me, like, we've talked about the middle child, the younger child, like, ooh, I'm going to have my work cut out for me. So I'm trying to ride this train when I got it, because she, like, over the summer, full on tears. I used a curse word in my diary, and we were like, you know, you shouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. And she went upstairs and we were cackling on the couch. So I'm like, 7th grade, that's the worst thing you can do, and you were in tears about it. I'll take it all day long.
Well, I have news for you. That is not for nothing. I'm like, okay, tell me more of your problems.
Oh, it's going to come back tenfold with the other two.
I mean, I hope you only get a taste of what I'm going through. Okay? Like, just a small taste. Like, actually, no, I wouldn't wish that on you. But I do think that you're heading in the right direction. You know, some people might not agree with the way that me and my husband parent, but we choose to be very, very, very open, extremely open with them.
Yeah.
We talk about everything with them. There's never been a time where my kids haven't felt like they couldn't tell me the things that they need to. And you've
even
been
the things
there.
you don't. Oh, I've been there for some of the things I don't want to know.
You know,
some things I can't unhear.
some things you can't unhear, but they came to me, didn't they?
Yeah. We've also done a really good job of us and our kind of tribe of, we've set up safe places, and like, if you're not in town or something, they won't hesitate to call me.
Absolutely.
Which is so good for them. And I mean, now they got grandparents here and stuff, but at that time, like, they didn't have anybody. But to give them other people that they know that they can reach out to, and like, that's safe, is such a good thing.
I don't even know for some things that they would still reach out to grandma and grandpa, because I don't know. My in-laws are like cool as shit, so they'd probably be like, I mean, especially if it was like my father-in-law would be like, it's okay, we'll get you out of this.
You weren't gonna ask.
Cool. So tell your mom and dad.
That's rule number 1 in my house, is we don't keep grandma and grandpa secrets.
Yeah.
We don't keep secrets. And like, that was one of the things with my oldest. It was like, she kept this secret and she was like distraught about it. I'm like, but it's like well, I'm not gonna say who, but it was like a whole pregnant, one of our friends was pregnant, like a pregnancy thing. And she kept it because the little other daughter goes to her school. She was like distraught that she had to keep this secret, and then she was so worried she would be in trouble. And I'm like, that's like you got somebody as a gift, ruining somebody's surprise. That's like a little white lie. Like, so it's fun to try to navigate. The
sentence starts with, don't tell your mom and dad, tell your mom and dad. Like, as soon as that sentence starts like that, you got to tell them.
We don't play that game. Don't tell my kids that shit.
No.
Like, no.
So one thing that I always try to do is make my kids like mentally strong for other kids. I grew up, kids were mean. Kids were mean to me.
Kids are so mean. Kids are still mean.
Awful. They were awful. You know, we were poor. I hated it. One year we donated all this stuff for the Thanksgiving basket, and it showed back up on my front freaking door.
Oh,
That sucked.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think I knew like then like how bad off we were. The fact that we were on that list.
Yeah.
But like, of course, kids made fun of me for that. You know, I had the goodwill. I remember my dad cut my bangs for pictures one year. Like, oh, girl, cut them straight across. He put me in a boy button up that was pinstriped. I gotta find that picture.
I want to see it now.
I had a vision in my mind, not to get too far off topic, but I was like, when I do my first paid, like to speak in public, to tell my story, because we all know that that's what I want to do one day.
Yeah.
I'm going to put pictures of that girl
Just like a B-roll.
up on the stage, and I'm going to tell them, do you see this girl? She is sad and broken.
Yeah.
Smiling in all these pictures. This is a sad and broken girl. And I can't wait for that one to pop up.
Yeah.
Because, oh my God, those bangs. You guys, I'm going to try and find that picture. And then, I don't know, it's going to take me forever. They're in the archives somewhere.
But you just said like that smiling girl is sad and broken, right? No one looking at that picture knows you're sad and broken but you and like maybe your family at that time. But that's what these kids need to remember. These kids that are so invested in social media. Like, I have a great social media. I look like I live like a luxe life. I don't post bad pictures. I don't post pictures of me crying or struggling or fighting.
She doesn't
or
use
whatever.
filters or anything.
Not at all. This one looks like all the time. I don't know what you're talking about. But like, come on, you don't post pictures of you fighting with your husband. You post pictures of you on vacation with your husband holding hands and you're having like this great moment of love. Like, you have to remember that those pictures are what gets you from one bad point to another, is all the things in between. So it's this dose where these kids think that that's reality.
Well, we've tried to protect our kids from social media as long as we could. Our daughter still doesn't have social media. She's 14. She's recently just got a phone. I don't think she'll ever have social media after the parent controls I've put on that thing.
Well, she won't be 18 according to that phone profile until we're dead.
Yeah. So, couple things was trying to eliminate the social media. The reason why we eliminated the cell phone for so long was group messaging.
Yeah.
Because that's where all that stuff brews.
And it's double-sided. Protect her from other people and protect her from her damn self. Because they don't realize when you say something, it's forever. You can delete it. Somebody else already got it. It's
100%.
a screenshot. Girl, I got a whole album of receipts. A whole album.
Yes.
I'm ready. Don't you lie about January 1989 because I got you.
Oh, God. I'm scared of her. Like, I could never not be her friend now. So, well, we did talk about that, how you could hack my whole life. But one of the things that we tried doing early on, especially with our daughter, was we instilled a few things that we would say to her every single day. At night, she would repeat them back to me. I am strong. I am beautiful. I am kind. I am important. I am not better than anyone, and nobody is better than me. I always wanted her to say those last two and know that not only are you not better than anybody, but nobody is better than you, and you should treat everybody the same way.
Yeah.
So we've said that over and over and over to her, and she could recite it right now. There's a catch to that, because that girl is confident. She's confident.
I'm pretty sure she came from me. I birthed her.
I was like, excuse me, we're not wearing that. She's like, wow, this looks good. I'm like,
and then she'll look at me and I'm like, no, Mom said, so no.
Like, girl, I could never. But I'm doing something right. Okay, you can't break her down.
Right, you can't.
So, yeah, I definitely think that there's certain things that we can do today to protect them for the future.
That's my main goal in life with raising my daughters, is to have them be, everything rolls off your back, right? And I didn't have that luxury until I was like 30. Like, didn't know my confidence, couldn't be capable of being like, I don't give a shit. Like, doesn't bother me at all.
But I think it's also like, not saying that you had bad friends, but like I had to learn who to put around me. So anyways, I've always struggled with feeling like I was pretty. And I think that one of the things is it was the people that I was surrounding myself with. Jealousy and those scarcity thoughts sometimes can damper who you are as a human.
Yeah.
So I always try to make sure that when I'm around my friends or my people, and I've surrounded myself with people that uplift me, that make me feel like I'm relevant. And I try to do the same thing for my friends. You're beautiful. You're smart. I'm so freaking excited for you. I'm so proud of you. Like, can't wait for you to go on this vacation. It's going to be awesome, right? Instead of being nasty about it. But we also have to teach our kids that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've always told my kids is you don't need a bunch of friends. You need 2 or 3 really good quality friends that will rock with you forever. And that is all you need. And you're going to have different cycles of friends. You still should be choosing the same types of people if that's what's good for your soul around you through those cycles. Like I mean, I've had cycles of friends and I feel like they've all pretty much been pretty good for my mental health, and they haven't. I've like cut the cord quickly. But
you need to learn those lessons.
You have to learn those lessons, and you have to instill those in your kids, that it's okay to not feel like you have to be friends with somebody because that's what society says you have to do, right?
Yeah,
like
and you can be kind about it. Like, you can be
Yes.
nice and keep it moving. You don't have to.
You have to be able to nicely be like, I don't want to be around you. And there's nice ways to do that. But it's definitely making sure that you're putting the right people around you and that you're doing the right things for your friends too.
Yeah.
And it's our jobs as parents to do that. One thing that I do feel like is really hard, though, I know that we talk a lot about like our girls and stuff, is, our boys. It's not okay in their world. It's getting more socially accepted now to be sensitive.
Yeah.
But my son is extremely sensitive, and he has a heart of gold, but he can be crushed very easily. And he's always been like that. He's his mother's child. But I think it's very important to make sure that we validate those feelings and we don't tell them to like toughen up.
Yeah, like no man up shit.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that. I mean, it's weird. It's weird for me, like when grown men cry. It does. It is. It's like
It's because we've been conditioned for that to be taboo.
right. But it's easy. I mean, not for nothing. Lynn, anybody crying around Lynn is taboo, first of all, okay?
I get it. Don't do
She's
that.
like, "Oh, stop doing that. You know?
They're there.
Yeah, they're there. But, yeah, I think that mental health for men has been so not socially accepted. And that's something that I do feel like is being progressively better through the years and things like that.
And the other to that coin is they're getting much better at acknowledging it in other people as well. It's not so much of like this, and my dad and grandfather weren't like this, but in that generation of like dads and grandfathers, like, it's not real, you're fine, suck it up. Like
Right.
that's going away. So then they're feeling more capable of opening up and saying like, hey, to my son, it's okay to feel that way. I felt that way before. I've done this. I've done that.
Right. And I think mental illness in men is extremely strong, and that they take things to a level sometimes that you can't take back.
Yeah.
Because they don't feel like they have that outlet.
Yeah. And they bottle it up
Yeah.
more than they do anything.
Absolutely. And boys get their feelings hurt too. And young boys do.
Yeah.
You're not fast enough. You're not athletic enough. You're not tall enough. You're not skinny enough. You're not fit enough.
Yeah.
Your grades aren't good enough. Like all these things, these have went through my child's head. I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Why do they get these opportunities and I don't get these opportunities? I've put in more work.
They're at the same impressionable age as girls. They just don't
Absolutely.
wear it on their sleeve in that aspect because society has told them for so long that they can't. But
And I
that's
mean,
not okay.
My son is a full grown man, and I will still
He sure is. He's 8 feet tall.
Yeah. I will still hold him and hug him and tell him it's okay and let him know that like I will always be his safe place, So definitely want to give people that feeling of a safe place. Well, he listened.
Well, Dylan's just roaming around outside the house because we kicked him out.
He has to go out the back door and around.
But I liked what you said about like it goes hand in hand with surrounding yourself with people in the same mindset that aren't afraid to be vulnerable and open. And there's that TikTok with a guy from Sopranos. He's like, you only need 3 motherfuckers. You
Yes.
take over the world. Like, that's so true.
It's so true
It's
because
so true.
even though you can't stand to see someone cry, I know that one, you're gonna validate my feelings.
Yeah.
You're gonna make sure that I feel like I have a space, and you might not like the crying, but you're not gonna tell me like stop crying either.
Yeah.
because that's who I am, you're going to be like, I have my fucking shovel. Let's go bury somebody, right? And I love that about you. But you've never made me feel like my stuff is not valid either.
Yeah.
And so I think that having people around you that are like, you know, they're in touch with that. I, for so long, struggled. What will people think? What will people think? Well, you know what? The people around me know me, and they know what I've been through.
Yeah.
And they know that I would give the shirt off my back for anybody. But I'm also at a point in my life where, which I hope that I'm instilling in my children, fuck around and find out, because I don't play.
It's my favorite stage.
Yeah.
Love it.
I don't play. And I think that comes with age.
Yeah,
and I
for
hope
sure.
that, you know, again, it took us this long to get there. You notice with each generation, they're getting there quicker.
It's acceptable much earlier, which is wonderful. Like the kids' school has a guidance counselor, it has this little box, and it's like anytime you want to talk, put a note in the box. If I have time, I pull it and I'll pull you. Like last year, it was like my daughter's friend. Like she was like, oh, hung out with Miss So-and-so today at lunch. I'm like, girl, if you don't let her have her lunch. She's like, but I love it. I get to tell her all the things. And I'm like, okay. Like, if that's what makes you happy and she's fine with it, like, go for it.
And she gets to have a good conversation with them.
Yeah.
So.
To me, that's another adult. Like, I don't know that lady from nothing, but it's another adult that you trust and you feel like if you can't come to me and tell me something, you can go to her and tell her something. And I'm never going to rob you of that. Go for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I think that one of the most important things is don't be afraid to get your kids help. Don't dismiss their emotions. Don't dismiss their experiences. If they're telling you they need help, listen to them. They need help, because God forbid your child tells you that and you react in a way that they can't comprehend, and then they take their life or they take someone else's life.
Yeah.
You will forever, obviously your life is altered, but you will forever have that guilt and never get over it, and you could have done something to help them.
Right.
So help them listen when they do it. You can say things as simple as like, I bet that's really hard. You've acknowledged the fact that they're having a struggle, whether, like I said with Brooklyn, it's something so silly. She lost sleep. She made herself sick over the fact that she cheated on a test 2 years ago.
Right.
So much to the point that she had to come tell me in tears. Like, big feelings for little kids. Like, not a big deal to me. We like laughed about it when she went upstairs, but I'm like, that's a big deal to her. That rocked her world. So if I can acknowledge the fact that that's a big deal, even if it's not, like, that's all she needed from me at the moment.
And reaction is key.
Yeah.
How you react is, especially when they feel like they're telling you something so important, your reaction will become a core memory.
Yeah.
So remember that. Because that...
They ain't coming to you when they're in actual danger.
No.
Their friend wants to drink, drive. Their boyfriend wants to do something you shouldn't do to their body. They're not coming to you with that important shit if you can't handle the little shit. If you shut them down and judge them and made them feel dirty for it.
Right. That reaction will become a core memory, 100%, because of whatever they're telling you to them is extremely important. And you don't want to rock that core memory in the bad way, because they will never come to you for anything.
Yeah.
And then they'll tell their kids.
Yeah.
And when they're older, like, I don't want to be like my mom. I don't want to be like my dad, because I remember when I told them stuff, this is how they reacted, and I'll never do that to my kids. They will carry that on forever.
My goal is to, I mean, you're not going to be perfect, right? You're always going to have issues where you look back and you're like, my parents kind of gave me this complex or gave me that trauma. You can't escape that. We can't do everything right. But my goal is to not be the reason that my kids have to be in therapy for the rest of their life.
100%.
And have healthy coping mechanisms, healthy relationships, things like that. But it's funny that you said that, because growing up, like, I was always in trouble because I didn't care that I got caught. I didn't I wasn't gonna lie. I wasn't gonna sneak around. Like, definitely walked right out the front door.
But you didn't feel the need to.
I didn't feel the need to, and I mean, I got in trouble. My parents were like, "Oh, she's unruly." Like, I definitely got grounded. My phone got taken away, whatever. But I didn't care to hide things. But I also would I didn't hesitate to call my mom. Hey, like, you know how I am. I'm like drugs. I'm not a drug person. It's never been my thing. Like, it's just not my thing. So when you're at places and like people would do that, I would, like, in high school, I'd call my mom and be like, can you come get me? Because my friend's doing this. I don't want to do that.
Same.
I knew you when I went home to Jersey for my cousin's wedding. And my mom was like, oh, we're going to smoke a little bit. And I was like, oh, God, no, it's not for me. Tried something that I was like, had never done before and did what I thought I needed to do. And the guy was like, why'd you do that? And I was like, why'd I do what? Why'd I do what? You told me to do that. And he was like, you just took like 10 hits at one time. And I was like, panic immediately. And I'm sitting out there. I was like, Mom, take me home. Like, as an adult, like in my 30s. Like, I'm never that person to be like, no, this is what's going on. Like, my sister hid everything. My sister hid everything, got away with a lot of stuff. And even to say, my parents were like, we were the bad ones. She was good. I'm like, no. I just got caught.
Yeah.
She didn't get caught. And I said, that's half the time because I picked her ass up or went and did this or went and did that. But you have to tell your parents stuff. My sister would call me all the time because she was terrified to call them. You know, I had like cornfields I saved her out of.
Right.
Drink that little cornfield in the dark because there was like nowhere to go. You're like, yeah, behind the third tree on this dirt road. Like, yeah, that's where we're partying tonight. Like, what the shit that we did was insane. But like, I never cared. I always called my parents, so that now as an adult, I still call them for things. Like, I want my kids to have that, and I feel like we're on track for that. So let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah, I love that.
But we all need to reset. Remember that when you're talking about your kids. Big feelings and little bodies. It might not be important to you. It's important to them. If you feel like you get burnout and you need a day off, they feel that too. Especially our middle schoolers, our high schoolers, these expectations are insanity. You were talking about Braden's schedule today, and it's like every minute of every second of the day is scheduled out. And that's how my middle school is right now. I mean, she's got like 5 tests a week. She's doing all these things. She's got homework till 8 o'clock, and then it's like, I'm going to ask her to do chores. And then, like, where's your family time? Where's your kid time? Where's your free time?
Right.
So these expectations are wild. So they deserve to get a reset, too. Right. She wants to take a 10-minute bubble bath with her bath bomb, go for it. Do I have time for that? Probably not. But that's what you need in that moment. Like, acknowledge that. They're just like we are. They're just less capable of coping with it. So help them find ways to cope with it. And that's a wrap. If you like what you heard, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. And as always, you can listen on Apple, Spotify, and more. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube for video podcast. We'll see you next week.